the disastrous decision by the Supreme Court 4 days ago that allows the Trump administration to begin implementing a flatly odious and unconstitutional order on birthright citizenship. Well, today, the administration announced it will begin deporting people subject to that order as soon as July 27th. It's madness, but it is madness with a method, which is to deconstruct the foundational concept of what it is to be an American, a concept created in this country's second founding by the 14th Amendment and the victory of the Union, the Civil War, a belief that we are all Americans across all lines of difference, from race to religion to creed. They hate that. They're trying to destroy it. Sherrilyn Ifill is the founding director of the 14th Amendment Center for Law and Democracy at Howard University. She was previously president and director counsel for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. She has a new piece out this week titled A Court Without the Range, the Reconstruction Court 2.0, and she joins me now. Sherrilyn, we are seeing a sustained attack on some of the foundational ideas of the Reconstruction Amendments. None more foundational, I think, than this question of who belongs and who's a citizen. What do you make of what we are seeing now that the Supreme Court has paved the way to begin some kind of patchwork implementation of this executive order?
Thanks so much, Chris. This is a danger of the highest order, a danger to our republic as we know it. The conservatives on this court and conservatives in general have long pushed back against the promise and the power of the 14th Amendment to our Constitution, which was ratified in 1868 after the Civil War. The purpose of the 14th Amendment was to ensure that black people, formerly enslaved and free, would be full citizens, but also was to reset our country and to center the principles of equality and justice in our country. And that's the project that they are pushing back against. They have decided to go for that first sentence of the 14th Amendment: all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state in which they reside, what we call birthright citizenship. Except it's very explicit. It's very explicit language in the Constitution. You can't pretend you don't know what they mean, anyone born here. And the framers of that amendment were very well aware that it would mean that the children of migrants, the children of non-citizen workers who were born here, would also be citizens. Nevertheless, over the course of the last 15 years, we have heard many Republicans talk about ending birthright citizenship. And President Trump now has come up with a way, with the aid of the United States Supreme Court, to skirt around the plain language of the 14th Amendment to try and implement something that looks like a carve-out from this most important and most vital constitutional protection.
One of the things I think it's worth people getting their heads around, this is reporting in the New York Times, immigrant rights groups in 22 states, all Democratic leadership, have sued over the citizenship order. 3 federal district courts vacated the policy. In 28 states that had not challenged the order, such as Arkansas, Mississippi, North Dakota, and Texas, the order can go into effect. Now, this, there might be class actions that get certified. But just to think about the practical reality of every hospital in America, or at least in these states, becoming the frontier of creating a second-class non-citizenship status that they are administering to women coming screaming in labor pains.
Remember, the core of our reset country through the 14th Amendment was that this is a country that has no caste. It has no levels of citizenship. But this is precisely what this administration is imagining. And it's happening, Chris, at a time when we are watching masked ICE agents roll up on people outside the Home Depot and wrestle them to the ground. And we're watching them, deport people and send people to third-party countries with which they have no connection. Is that what is going to be happening to newborn babies who are born, who they believe fall under this executive order, which purports to deny birthright citizenship to those who don't have at least one parent who's a citizen or a permanent resident? Are they going to be, as you say, outside maternity wards, these masked agents, or in maternity wards trying to take babies away from their parents, or outside the homes of new parents trying to enforce this executive order. This is beyond dystopian. It already has been dystopian. This is contrary to everything, not just that we believe in this country, but that any decent country premised on the idea of democracy believes in. The question is, will we allow it to happen? The Supreme Court had to know. They were given a green light to this, even though they have said, you know, there could be these class actions, which are aggregated cases where lots of people come together and bring an action. You know, as you point out, there are jurisdictions where federal courts very much disfavor class actions, through the Fifth Circuit, for example, where individuals would have to bring their own case, find a lawyer, bring their case to be able to keep this EO from going into effect against them. I cannot imagine what we might be facing by the end of this month. And so I think we have to gather ourselves and really recognize what is coming down the pike. And if we add it to Trump's comments today and earlier about his desire to move United States citizens who are imprisoned in this country to other countries, we are looking at something very, very, very horrifying, something we have really, frankly, never seen before in this country. And we're going to have to make some real decisions about where we draw the line.
The president today musing, in case anyone thought this was really about citizenship or immigration, musing today openly that actually there's people born here who are citizens that we should do the same thing to deport them, move them out of the country, render them to third-party prisons. I mean, it seems to me that like this, there is no sacrosanct line here to defend in their view. It is we are what you are, and you have whatever rights we say you have.
Well, and you can guarantee that if you are a black or brown person, you have less rights than everyone else. It will only be a matter of time before he extends this to people who are critics of him. So race will at some point not be the line that is drawn anymore. But at least for now, if you are brown, if you are black, that's why he thinks going for the prisons will disproportionately give him that population. That's why he's doing this around birthright citizenship. You know, we just had a Supreme Court that has allowed him to go forward with excluding, 500,000 people from Venezuela and the Dominican Republic. He's lifted TPS for Haitians. So there are going to be all kinds of people who are potentially subject to this. But it's only a matter of time before it gets around to you are not a citizen if you criticize this government. So this is what we feared. It is happening.